course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth a separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which compel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident: that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men and derive their just power from the consent of the governed. And that when government of any form should become destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to establish new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as to them will seem most likely to affect their safety and their happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has thus shown that mankind is more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations has been committed against them, evincing a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to find new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient suffering of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injury and abuse, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He's refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden our governors from passing laws of immediate and pressing importance unless they suspend their operations until his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish their right to representation in the legislature, a right that is inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public record for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved our representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected. He has endeavored to prevent the population of our states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass other laws which would encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions for new appropriations of land. He's obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges depend on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislature. He has affected to make the military independent of and superior to the civil power. he has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their pretended acts of legislation. This false authority has been used for the quartering of large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders that they should commit on the inhabitants of our states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the very forms of our government, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, Quebec, establishing therein an arbitrary government, then expanding its borders so as to make it at once an example and fit instrument to impose the same absolute rule onto these colonies, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with the power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us outside of his protection and waging war against us. He is at this very moment transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny upon us, already begun under circumstances of cruelty and paralleled with the most barbaric of ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He's ravaged our seas, plundered our coasts, burned our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He's constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their countrymen, to become the executioners of their own friends and brothers, or to fall themselves by his hand. At each stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble of terms. Our repeated petitions have been met only by repeated injury. A king whose character has thus been marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We've warned them from time to time of the attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We've reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We've appealed to their sense of justice and conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice. So we must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind. Enemies in war, in peace, friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled here, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these United States are and ought to be free and independent, that they are absolved of all allegiance to the British Crown, and all political connections between them and the state of Great Britain are and ought to be totally dissolved. And as free and independent nations, they have full right to levy war, contract alliances, conclude peace, establish commerce, and do all those other things which free and independent states may of right do. To support this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.